Yo, what up everybody? It's Slummy here, and today I'm coming at you with a quick guide for hitting level 50 in Enchanting. I use the quick word very sarcastically because out of all the skill lines, I believe this one takes the longest to level up. I'm gonna show you the best ways that I found to get this leveled up, but it's still gonna take a little time. So a couple things you want to take note of when you're ready to power level this skill line is, again, one, enchanting armor and weapons don't really come into play until you hit CP 160. You want to make sure that the gear you're enchanting is actually gear worth enchanting, primarily because once you get into gold enchantments, it is very hard to get the Kuda to make them. Another thing you're going to want to do is get certified as soon as possible, primarily because the skill line does take a while to level up. So to get the skill line unlocked, you could go to the Mages Guild. You'll get a quest to get a couple ruins and create a glyph. Once you do that, the skill line unlocks. You're also going to want to have a friend, if possible, gold, and skill points available, and I will show you why. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, one of the first things you want to pay attention to once you get certified and unlock the skill line is when creating glyphs. You'll notice that when I highlight over a specific glyph, to the left it says translation and it says frost. Once you initially pick up this glyph and you don't make anything, you're going to have a question mark there. So what I recommend doing is all the glyphs that are not red, red meaning you can't make it yet, you want to translate them to get their effects. By doing this, anything that has not been translated yet, you will get additional XP for making those glyphs for the first time. Also, there's an achievement for unlocking all of the glyphs. So the first thing I recommend doing is once you uncover ruins that are not translated, translate those first. Alright, the second step you want to do is do the daily quest. The reason you want to do the daily quest is, for one, you'll get a little bit XP for creating the glyph, and for two, you'll get additional inspiration and experience points once you create it and turn it in. The easiest way to do this, if you're a PC player, just get the lazy Rit creator. All you got to do is, as long as you have the runes, you just hit craft like so, and the enchantment is made. Again, all the dailies are going to revolve creating glyphs for magicka, stamina, and health, just different variations. So again, doing the dailies will net you some inspiration, some additional XP. Also, when you turn in the reward, you'll get a glyph that you can extract for additional XP. Alright, the next step and the best way I found to gain XP is extracting glyphs. So first you're going to create all the glyphs that you have not translated yet, but once I translated all my glyphs, I focus purely on extraction because you get more XP for extracting glyphs than you do for creating them. And once everything's translated, you really don't get a lot of XP for creating similar glyphs anyways. And yes, if you're thinking of the shortcut where you're going to create a glyph and then extract it, don't do it, because you barely get any XP, if any, for doing that. You'll get the XP for creating it, but you'll get almost none for extracting it. So the same works for enchanting as it does for every other skill line. The higher quality the glyph that you extract, the more XP you get from it. This is where teaming up with a group of people really comes into play. If you have a lot of friends that play online, or maybe your guild mates, or even people who just don't care about the enchanting skill line, if they're willing to give you those glyphs, or you can post in the chat if you're willing to buy glyphs to extract, this will speed up the process a lot more, especially if you have really good friends who just don't care and are going to give them to you. Gold glyphs is really where it's at for enchanting armor. Gold and purple, I should say. I focus all on gold, so even my purple ones I extract. But basically, for green and blue glyphs out in the world, the grays you get pretty much from random enemy drops. You can also get them from dungeon bosses, delve bosses. You can get them from dolmens and anchors, dark anchors, things like that. You can also get the blue ones I've gotten from defeating world bosses and bosses within like public dungeons. I've also gotten blue ones and green ones from completing daily quests. Pretty much any daily quest will give you a chance to obtain one. But for a green glyph, you're almost guaranteed a green glyph for doing the Mages Guild daily quest, where you run into the public dungeon, get the treasure, and turn it back in. I've gotten a green glyph pretty much every single time for completing that quest. So that might be a good quest to do to fit into your daily schedule, so to speak. but you want to extract the glyphs. Just keep extracting them. I find that XP increases a lot more. Again, the higher value the glyph, the more XP you get. So make sure you are extracting everything. What I usually like to do is just I hoard them all. I'll even create space within my character in my bank and just start storing them all, and I'll make a trip to the enchanting station once a day, extract every glyph that I picked up, and then kind of rinse and repeat the next time I play. Alright, probably one of the last ways I recommend doing this does involve gold. And also in my next lesson, I'll go over why we need the additional skill points. But if you're really good at grinding gold, or you're very active on your trade guild, your guild trader, excuse me, what you want to do is try to find high value glyphs for sale on the guild store. You can even post them in the chat that you're looking for them. But if you can get gold and purple glyphs for somewhat cheap, and again, you're really good at obtaining gold, or you just have a ton of gold sitting around, go that route. Because when you extract the gold and the purples, you actually have a chance to obtain a Kuda or a purple ruin, and you're going to get a ton more XP for doing those two, extracting it, which will increase your skill line a lot faster. Alright, so lastly, if you want to go the route that I do when I go to massive, like a mass extraction of glyphs, so I kind of hoard everything and then just do a ton of extractions, what you want to do when you're doing this is have skill points available. As your enchanting skill line levels up, you want to start dumping points into aspect improvement and potency improvement, along with runestone extraction. While you're extracting, you have a better chance of obtaining better runestones, and the potency and aspect improvement allows you to create higher value glyphs. So again, the higher value glyph you create, the more XP you're going to get. Also, as you start unlocking higher value glyphs, you'll have ones that are not been translated yet, so you'll be able to translate those and get even more additional XP. So that's pretty much it in terms of power leveling the enchanting skill line. Again, it takes a little time, but don't feel like you have to rush. Enchanting armor really doesn't come into play until you're over CP 160, because the armor that you enchant, you want to make sure it's worth it. Again, more on recommendation. I know a lot of people are going to say differently, but I always go for gold enchanting anyways. So I go out into the world, I get the rune stones to extract, hoping that I get Kudas, and I kind of just store them up until I find a good armor set over at CP 160 that I'm ready to enchant. A lot of people are going to say, no, go purple, because there's not much of a difference, but you know, I'm the type of player where I want the best of everything, and I'm not going to settle for second best. I just want to go out, get my stuff enchanted to the highest possible degree, and start doing endgame activities. So again, be patient, get friends if you have them. Thank you so much for chiming into this video. I know enchanting kind of sucks and it does take a little bit of time to level up, but just stick with it. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to do my recipe farming guide probably tomorrow, along with diagrams, and then I'm going to start working on motifs and character builds. So again, subscribe to the channel, post a comment if you have a better way of leveling enchanting. I would love to see if there is a faster way, because like I said, I'm going to do a second character, and if you have a better way that's a lot quicker, by all means share with me, share with the community. Thank you so much for tuning in, and everybody have an awesome day.